Hi everyone, today we have a new video review, and as you can see, this time we are going to talk about fresh release from armahobby. It's a kit which is made in 1/48 scale, and what I have here on the table is P-39N Airacobra, and some of you might say I already reviewed this kit, but no, this is a 1/48 scale release, so that's why it might be interesting for modders who were waiting for this bigger scale format, I would say. And what I have here on the table is the commercial sample, so it means you will get exactly the same stuff as what you'll see in this video review. Nothing will change, and that's the final shape of this release, and you can get it on the official armahobby website. And by the way, the kit number is 40011, so as I said, it's already the second version of this famous aircraft in 1/48 scale. We have really beautiful box art here, and you can see comparison with my hand, it's pretty much the same box size as in the previous release of this Airacobra set. Then here on the side you will find some information about the kit. So we have the plastic parts, we have decals for 3 marking options, and we have also masks included. So I would say pretty much everything you need for a nice build out of the box. And here we have also some safety advices and address of the manufacturer, while marking options can be checked on the rear side of the box. So as you can see, we have quite colorful choice, I would say. One Soviet, one also from I can see it's Algeria, and another one from Sardinia, Corsica. So this one is from US Air Forces. So we'll talk more in the marking guide section, because marking guides are printed in the assembly manual. And as you can see, the box structure is typical, so I'm just opening this cardboard tray, and there are all plastic parts which are packed into one plastic bag. So just give me a second to open it, and we will take a closer look together. It's a resealable plastic bag, so that's why it's quick and easy to open. And in the meantime, I can also remind you that you can check the review with the previous version on the same YouTube channel which you are watching at the moment. So I would like to start probably with this nice and small bonus on I would say, which is useful and must have for the Airacobra. Those 3 metal balls will be placed in the nose section, just like in the smaller scale release from the same brand. And I think it's a very handy thing, because it will get you the proper balancing, and you don't have to search for your own weight. You just place those ones which are included in the standard package. Next, I continue with the Ziploc bag. So this one is covering or carrying the clear parts. So let's zoom in a bit, and now you can see that here we have the canopy parts. Note the doors are molded together with the side windows, and of course the separate doors might be handy for the open cockpit. I think it's worth opening the cockpit because there are plenty of features copied out of the box, and of course the final result will only benefit from exposing what is inside. But overall quality, as I said, is really good, and we should have also the masks included, so that's definitely a good thing as well. Next, we have the first gray plastic sprue. This one is, I would say, rather small. Nevertheless, here we have the mix of various parts. So we have some external parts, for example, these exhaust stacks of 2 types. We also have some cockpit parts, this rear bulkhead, for example, and also landing gear legs can be found here. And here we also have some parts for the cockpit again, and here, for example, rudder pedals. And if you have some additional budget, you can update it with the help of aftermarket PE. I think there are some sets already available, but this will be an extra, I would say, expenditure. So if you have a budget for such upgrade, then it's definitely worth doing so, especially if you plan to open the cockpit. And if you don't want to waste money, then I think you should be alright with the standard things which are coming in the package. I'm just checking the next plastic sprue. This one is even bigger, so I will need to zoom out even further. So here we have the wing parts, and as you can see, these are actually 2 halves. The bottom one and the top one. We have the ailerons pre-molded, we have the flaps pre-molded as well, which is quite a shame for a 1/48 scale. I would rather prefer to have them separate, because it's always fun to assemble the aircraft with the dropped flaps. But well, I guess here you need the aftermarket set in order to do so. And the same can be said about landing gear wheels. While they are okay for the standard details, you can also find some aftermarket 3D printed, which is offering way more features, but the fuel tank shouldn't be a key. And also here you can see 2 types of the propellers with attachment points on the blades. I also wanted to show you the external features. So as you can see, we have recessed panel lines and rivets. So this is more than enough for a 1/48 scale aircraft. The only thing is not to overdo the layers of paint and primer, because otherwise you risk losing all of these details underneath. And here also we have some guiding elements. This is actually what I noted in the previous video review as well. This circular tab or curved tab is very smart solution, which will help you with the proper position of these two halves together. We also have some minor features for the main wheel wells, and all of this will benefit from clever painting and masking so that you can get the more or less convincing finish. Next we have the last gray plastic sprue, but this one is not the less important, I would say, because here we have the fuselage halves. As you can see, both are molded without the tail fin, and tail fin will have to be assembled just like that as a separate part. There is also a tail wing. Here we have also the pilot seat. Elevators are separate. What is cool and what I also priced in the previous video review is that we have the top cowling covers. There are 3 versions, but they're molded as a one-piece part, so you won't have any seams and gaps in such visible area. And in case you wonder about the external features on the fuselage, so here you can see them as well. So again, pretty much the same level as what we saw on the wing parts, and I think that's really good. Here inside we don't have that many features. This is because we will get the cockpit separately assembled and inserted in between the fuselage, but we have the guiding elements, so this is also quite important thing to have. Next, we continue with a small errata. So here I'm just checking what it will be. It looks like it's the air vent, which will be replaced with the 3D printed part. Here you can see it, and maybe I can zoom in so that you can understand what we are talking about. But overall, I think it's not difficult to fix this thing, so now you should be fine. Next, I need to find the decals and masks. They are hidden in the assembly manual, so masks are pre-cut. This yellow kabuki tape. We have masks not only for the canopy but also for the landing gear wheels, so definitely a good thing to have, and it will give you a nice result afterwards without spending a lot of time on this procedure. But that's not all. As I say, there are also decals. So for the decals we have this large decal sheet, so let's zoom out a bit. As you can see, we have all necessary symbols for 3 marking options. I think there should be 1 additional because I see some alternative symbols, but we will see it in the assembly manual. There are extensive stencils, and what is funny is that we have a lot of cockpit decals. So in case you are fine with the cockpit decals, you don't even have to buy the PE thread. You should be fine with this stuff because it is looking okay in my opinion. Some other brands were doing this for quite a long time, so I think this one also should be completely okay. And next we have the assembly manual. So here is the large color printed brochure. As you can see, we have short history note and also parts map and paints color chart. Then here we have the assembly process. So assembly process starts with the cockpit. As far as you can see, we begin with the cockpit floor, then we continue with the pilot seat, and straight away you will have to apply some decals because, as you remember, we have the seat belts replicated with help of decals. And of course it's worth thinking how to paint all of this stuff because some of the elements will be hard to reach later. We also have the metal balls position here. We have the cockpit assembly between the fuselage halves on the next steps, and then also the wing assembly. And here we continue with the tail wing, the rudder, and also the tail fin. And here we have some modifications which are necessary for this particular version. The same goes for these position lights. And then we continue with the landing gear. And next, here we have the air intake slats which are molded separately. We also have the landing gear which should be assembled in a certain sequence. I'm just checking how, which steps you should be doing in order to assemble this front landing gear. Then we have also the separate steps for the doors. As you remember, they are molded separately, so this might be a wise idea to open at least one. Then here we have bombs and fuel tank. You get a choice whether you would like to attach them. Here's the first marking option from USF, as you remember. Then we continue with another one here from Algeria, another one the Soviet marking, and I guess the yeah, the optional one comes as the slightly different Soviet marking with this Mariupol writing on the fuselage. And of course we have the stenciling guide, which is quite universal for all of the markings. But as for the whole kit, I think it's one of the best now on the market. So if you would like to have it in 1/48 scale, might be your main choice to get. And of course you can get it on official Arma Hobby website. If you have something to say, write it in the comment section below. I know some of you asked me to make the comparison with the previous alternatives, so stay tuned. I will try to find at least one kit which should be familiar to us, and maybe to compare what is better here in comparison with what you were getting before. And of course I will see you in the next video as usual, so bye and stay tuned.